I just can't imagine any circumstance under which a blackface performance would be acceptable, any more than I can imagine any circumstance under which the use of the N-word would be acceptable. This is what Los Angeles Times film critic Scott Feinberg had to say about writer-director Ben Stiller's 2008 blockbuster action comedy Tropic Thunder, a film that follows a troupe of pampered, washed-up celebrities who are taken deep into the Vietnamese jungle by Steve Coogan's frustrated filmmaker Damien Cockburn in order to finish an awards-bait Vietnam War film based on mysterious veteran Four Leaf Tabak's best-selling memoirs. Upon its release back in 2008, the film generated its fair share of controversy for a number of reasons. Coming under fire by disability advocates for its extensive use of the R word.
Everybody knows you never go full
as well as its depiction of mental disability by Stiller's character Tug Speedman in his previous failed Oscar bait film Simple Jack, a movie within the movie about a mentally disabled farmhand with the ability to communicate with animals.
I ain't got a good brain.
I think you've got a fine brain, Jack.
Others criticized Tom Cruise's costume performance as Blowhard studio executive Les Grossman as being anti-Semitic.
A G5 airplane.
Yes, and lots of money.
But to Feinberg's point, it most notably drew criticism due to Robert Downey Jr.'s character, Australian method actor Kirk Lazarus. Lazarus is a 5-time Oscar winner so obsessed with inhabiting his roles that he undergoes an experimental pigmentation surgery in order to become the black, no-nonsense soldier Lincoln Osiris, a dual role that required Robert Downey Jr. to wear special effects makeup designed by legendary makeup artist Rick Baker in order to look like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Australian's idea of a black man, which is a very roundabout way of saying blackface. In 2008, only 17 years ago, beloved celebrity Robert Downey Jr. starred in a mainstream studio film wearing blackface. While Feinberg wasn't alone at the time, the criticism mostly fell on deaf ears. Back in 2008, Tropic Thunder was a massive critical and financial success, earning nearly $198 million worldwide off of a $90 million budget and receiving positive critical praise. To add salt to Feinberg's wound, Robert Downey Jr. in particular was widely praised. To this day, it's inarguable that Tropic Thunder was the second step in the actor's career resurgence following his breakthrough as Iron Man, a Cinderella story when you consider Downey's highly publicized struggles with drug use and self-sabotage.
Look, they're making a movie. Robert Downey Jr. is shooting it out with the police.
I don't see any cameras.
Downey also generated a heap of awards recognition for the role, earning Best Supporting Actor nominations at the BAFTAs, the SAG Awards, the Golden Globes, and even the Academy Awards, where he lost the Best Supporting trophy to Heath Ledger in his posthumous Oscar for his role as the Joker in The Dark Knight. In the years since its release, the financial success and critical praise the film and Downey generated seems to have faded from the zeitgeist, but the controversy remains. Every few years, as new generations discover the film's existence, there seems to be a new campaign in line with Feinberg's sensibility to cancel Robert Downey Jr. Misguided though they may be, you can't really fault Downey's critics for taking issue with the performance when you consider just what blackface is and its intended purpose. Some scholars date the use of blackface all the way back to medieval Europe, where stage actors would use coal to darken their skin in order to portray demons or negative spirits, i.e. characters meant to be perceived as something less than human. The custom would continue to be employed in live performance over the ages, but for the purposes of this video, we'll focus on its use in the post-Reconstruction era South, where it gained popularity in America in the form of the minstrel show, live, touring variety shows that featured white actors wearing black makeup to exaggerate stereotypical features of black people. These black characters, played by white men and occasionally women, were exclusively portrayed in a negative light, realized as cowardly, uneducated, and superstitious buffoons who'd steal, lie, and cheat to get ahead, a direct response of a racist southern white culture to the abolishment of slavery and their own perceived loss of social and economic status. Unfortunately, these racist caricatures are responsible for harmful stereotypes that endure to this day, including the mammy figure, an archetype modeled after enslaved women who were exploited for housework, child rearing, and despite Conagra Brand's best efforts, selling the masses thick, buttery bottles of syrup.
Mrs. Butterworth, why do you taste so good?
It's because I'm so thick and rich.
You can change the voice actress all you like, we all know what you're doing. Then there's the archetype that Spike Lee has coined as the magical Negro, a mystical and otherworldly character that exists solely to empower and improve a white protagonist. Think John Coffey in The Green Mile or Bagger Vance in The Legend of Bagger Vance. The most harmful and famous caricature to come from these performances, however, was that of Jim Crow, a deformed trickster in tattered clothing who sang and spoke in riddles. The figure became so prevalent in the popular culture of the time that it became the face and name of the Jim Crow laws that segregated America well into the 1960s. Blackface would continue to endure with the advent of the moving image, with historical dramas like Uncle Tom's Cabin, continuations of the minstrel show tradition with the filmography of song and dance man Al Jolson, and historical epics like D.W. Griffith's The Birth of a Nation. All films that used white actors in blackface to exclusively portray black people as objects of pity, cheap entertainment, or in the case of The Birth of a Nation, as bloodthirsty savages willing to white women and children. As time wore on and culture and the legal system began to change thanks to the civil rights movement, the minstrel tradition and blackface fell out of favor, becoming taboo, with the exception of the occasional misguided celebrity, Canadian politician, and/or Canadian rapper who just might be the only black man to get in trouble for doing blackface, a feat when you consider the entire cast of Spike Lee's Bamboozled. Blackface became recognized for what it really is, a racist practice designed to ridicule black culture, exclude black people from the arts, and emphasize a sense of otherness between races in order to expand the racial divide. But that's not what Tropic Thunder is doing. Aside from some hacky, yet admittedly still pretty funny bits that feel like an observation stand-up from the 90s wrote them,
I don't believe you people.
Huh? What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people?
there's actually very little racial humor in Tropic Thunder, at least when you consider it's a film that features the guy from the Shaggy Dog in blackface. Robert Downey Jr. has stated that he based Lazarus on tabloid-friendly bad boy actors like Russell Crowe and Colin Farrell, as well as dedicated method actor Daniel Day-Lewis. Method acting is ultimately a complex approach to inhabiting a character for stage and screen, but the most infamous aspect of the method encourages performers to stay in character even when cameras aren't rolling or they aren't on stage. This has led to infamous stories over the years of actors going to ridiculous lengths to stay in character, whether it be Daniel Day-Lewis refusing to bathe while shooting the period drama The Crucible, Peter Weller insisting that everyone on set refer to him exclusively as Robo or by his proper government name RoboCop while shooting RoboCop,
Robo doesn't get an Oreo. If Peter wants an Oreo, Peter can have an Oreo.
or professional Jared Leto mailing his co-stars unwrapped condoms and dead animals for his turn as the Joker in the Oscar-winning film Suicide Squad. Method acting has given entitled celebrities the option to be as obnoxious as possible on set, which is what Lazarus is doing. In the reality of Tropic Thunder, Lazarus didn't change his skin color, hair, or facial features in order to insult black culture. He underwent his transformation because he believes so deeply in his craft that his role as a thespian is so important that he can literally become someone else. When Kirk Lazarus is portraying Sergeant Lincoln Osiris, he isn't Lazarus playing Osiris. He is Osiris. A point driven home at the end of the film when, in an attempt to deprogram Tug Speedman from his Stockholm Syndrome at the hands of the Vietnamese drug cartel, the Flaming Dragons, Lazarus must come to terms with his own identity.
No. Sergeant Lincoln Luther, nor am I Father O'Malley. Put me Armstrong. I think I might be nobody.
Ridiculing this style of acting is the true aim of the Kirk Lazarus character and has nothing to do with race. The aspect that is racial is actually a criticism of Hollywood's own racist practices, and it's stated explicitly in the film. During an altercation between Lazarus and the only actual black actor in the cast, Brandon T. Jackson's Al Pacino, Lazarus asks Alpa why he's transitioning from rapping to acting, and Alpa replies,
"Maybe I just knew I had to represent, because they had one good part in for a black man, they gave it to Crocodile Dundee," before
quickly and inaccurately being schooled by Lazarus on the black struggle and the use of the N-word.
For 400 years, that word has kept us down.
This pivotal moment not only reiterates Lazarus's lack of intelligence and social awareness, it also shines a light on Hollywood's penchant for whitewashing minority roles. I think it's fair to say, 17 years later, that this tendency is becoming less of a problem, but at the time it was prevalent, which is how we ended up with films like Prince of Persia starring the lily-white Jake Gyllenhaal, Gods of Egypt, where the only minority actor in the main cast was Chadwick Boseman, or Cameron Crowe's Aloha, where Emma Stone, who is not Asian or Hawaiian, plays the part Asian, part Hawaiian Allison Ng.
Maybe they'll produce my film, The Last on Earth, starring Tom Hanks. How about that?
The obvious rebuttal to this observation is that these themes could have, and some would say should have, been handled in a different way. That the use of blackface wasn't necessary, and to that I'd say, you're right. Ben Stiller, Robert Downey Jr., and everyone involved in the production of Tropic Thunder could have found a less offensive way to tackle the subject matter. But I'd argue that not only would the resulting film be less funny, but the message would be less impactful. If we could all cast aside political correctness and social pressure for a brief moment, we can all just admit that, on a surface level, Robert Downey Jr. in black makeup is an image that's utterly ridiculous and deeply hilarious. Marry that image with a performance that echoes an antiquated blaxploitation character that somehow found his way onto the set of a historical drama, which is likely the only familiarity Kirk Lazarus would have with actual black culture, honestly, kind of like Quentin Tarantino.
Then Jamie, my man here. All right, those are the BET Awards.
And you get comedy gold that captures people's attention while delivering biting satire that never feels preachy. Without this layer, we'd also lose the meta-comedy that stems from the American Downey essentially playing three roles: the white Australian Kirk Lazarus, the African American Sergeant Lincoln Osiris, and when he goes undercover near the climax of the film as the unnamed and confused black Vietnamese rice-turned-lead farmer.
I'm a lead farmer, motherfucker!
None of this is meant to dismiss or excuse the harmful history of blackface, but rather to explain that, when it comes to comedy, context matters. Despite the taboo of a white actor in blackface, the use of harsh language, and brutal violence, Tropic Thunder isn't punching down at anyone. It's punching up at out-of-touch celebrities and shining a light on a Hollywood system that has historically excluded minority talent. And the glue that holds it all together is Robert Downey Jr. Even in 2008, asking a white actor to don blackface for a major studio film was potential career suicide. At the urging of Stiller, Downey stepped up to the plate and assuredly knocked it out of the park, succeeding where C. Thomas Howell of Soul Man failed, wringing humor out of one of Hollywood's ugliest practices, subverting its true aim, and serving as a ridiculous reflection of the industry's racial biases. And that, my friends, is why Robert Downey Jr. got away with it. Let me know what you think about Tropic Thunder and its use of blackface down in the comments section below. Like me, do you think that context matters, or do you think blackface is unacceptable under any circumstances? Let me know. I'd also like to ask that if you liked this video, please click the like button, press subscribe, ring the bell, and share it with a friend. I'd like to say thanks in advance, thanks for watching, and until next time, peace.